Um, Now, tonight I want to talk about guys who are kind of on the bottom of the roster bubble here. And so let's go through this here. I'm going to start with you, Anthony. Preseason's week 1 and 2.
Yep.
Give me some guys who have impressed you. Let's start with guys who have impressed you.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it was great to see Tua come out, go 5 for 5, 51 and a touchdown. Like, you didn't need to see anything more. I thought it was appropriate to pull him right after that, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's in mid-season form, so I thought that was fantastic. Lesser known guys, though, I know there's been a lot of there was some buzz for Channing Tindall after week 1 when he got a wide open sack. I didn't understand that. It's like nobody touched him. I don't know why we're surprised.
The seas kind of parted for him on that one.
Yeah. I really thought this kid Malik Washington, dude, like 6th round pick, he's making the team, man. He came into a stacked wide receiver core. The odds against him as a 6th round pick, I think he's making it. I think he's been very impressive. And if Ezra Konma has to be the one to get cut to keep Washington, I think they do it. I think Malik has been really impressive. I mean, he's facing 2s and 3s, but that's all they're putting him up against. So you can only perform against what they're asking you to perform against. And I think he's been electric when given the chance.
Yeah, his blocking has been spectacular.
Yeah,
for a small guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he shows a lot of heart out there. I'll say that. I've been looking for Malik Washington, and I've been looking to see more of him. I've been looking to see what he maybe can do as a punt returner.
Yeah,
I've been looking to see how he does out of the slot. See his quickness, because that's kind of what he showcased at Virginia, right? He showcased all that quickness, had a ton of yards for the Cavaliers last year, and I was really looking forward to seeing what he would do in the preseason. He doesn't have that many catches, but he's always been out there. He's always been working for it. Steve,
I felt like he was way more involved in the first preseason game against the Falcons than he was against last week. So I don't know if he was battling something or if the coaching staff was like, we've kind of seen enough, or I don't know what that was about.
I think the coaching staff got more guys involved in the second preseason game, so it's easier to kind of become invisible. Like Eric Ezekama, for example, and we're going to get into him, but he didn't play in the first preseason game, but he showcased heavily in the second preseason game, as we all know.
Yeah.
So Steve, you've watched the games, obviously. Who's impressed you?
Well, that River Craycraft catch in the end zone last week in the first quarter, I believe it was. That was. I mean, I don't know what was better, the throw or the catch, but either way, I could definitely get used to seeing that. Storm Duck had a good play. Cam Smith had a great pass deflection. I really hope to see a lot more of him. To be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of him, a little less Cater Kohu. Actually, I might have slipped up. Is Cater? He's hurt right now, ain't he?
No,
he's fine.
Cater's healthy.
I
Okay,
mean, I could. Ethan Bonner got hurt in the first preseason game.
Oh, that's who it was. Okay, yeah. So I could definitely do a little less Cater. I'm tired of seeing him get burnt. And I would definitely like a little bit more Cam Smith showing. Just give him a shot, I think that's what I'm more interested in, seeing how this season's going to pan out with how the preseason went, because I think he had a pretty good showing last week.
Okay. So yeah, I'm actually a Cater Kohu fan. I think Cater Kohu was kind of miscast as an outside wide receiver, as an outside cornerback, I should say, last year. When Jalen Ramsey went down, the Dolphins were kind of scrambling. They picked up Eli Apple.
He did pick up, but he's definitely, I don't think he belongs on the outside to begin with.
No, he doesn't. He's a slot corner.
And I just think Cam Smith is just a bigger body, kind of a linebacker player. Same with, and he can do that coverage. He can almost be your weapon X if he gets good at that position. You know what I mean? If he's on your outsides and he's just a regular lockdown corner, that's great. You can find them a dime a dozen. But those weapon X corners, they're hard to come by. A lot of times you get a little Cater Kohu in that spot, and I'm interested in this Cam Smith playing this year.
I'm interested in Cam Smith. I've been I'm with you. I'm interested to see what Cam Smith has. I think he's been a little underwhelming. He was certainly underwhelming last year. He fell into Vic Fangio's doghouse really early in the season.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Vic Fangio's doghouse is one of those places that, it's like Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Yep.
You know? So I think he was just kind of, sitting on the bench last year and hopefully learning, hopefully being a sponge, taking some stuff in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we obviously pay attention to the flashy, skill positions and the QBs and the running backs and all that stuff. But I'd like to give a massive shout out to a few of the big guys, the big bodies, from Patrick Paul, the rookie left tackle. I think he played outstanding. Obviously, given the fact that he's a rookie, he had some issues, right? He overset some, got beat on the inside, lost to a swim move. But overall, I think he graded out very, very well. He's a big body. He's super athletic. And if he can continue his growth, albeit it's 2 preseason games, we understand that. But if he can continue to show what he showed this preseason so far, I can honestly understand why people are saying that he is the, proverbial replacement for Teron Armstead. Jack Driscoll was a free agent signing of ours. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife offensive lineman. I think he should start instead of Liam Eichenberg. I think he's shown what he can and can't do. He's opened up holes in the run game. He's blocked his butt off. And I think it would be remiss if we did not call out our 2 rookie defensive linemen, Chop and Mo. I think both of them showed very, very well in the preseason so far. And if I may, and I know every single one of you guys are going to laugh when I say this, Jason Sanders. Jason Sanders has looked very good so far.
He looks
I
solid.
like our kicker.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, he's looked solid. Aside from that one miss against the Commanders, he's been solid all preseason. And you know what? Being fair about it, he was solid last year for us as well. So now, one of the guys that I was hoping you guys were going to mention, you guys have mentioned a lot of the guys that I was thinking of, but one of the guys I was hoping you were going to mention was Ethan Bonner, who played well in his first preseason game. He was out against Commanders with a concussion. So what are you guys' thoughts on Ethan Bonner? Because I'm looking at him more so than Cam Smith, Steve. I'm looking at Ethan Bonner as the guy who's going to kind of come in and be our number 3 cornerback on the outside. If anything should happen to Kendall Fuller or Jalen Ramsey, I think Ethan Bonner is the next man up, not Cam Smith, because Cam Smith he's been hurt a lot this preseason. And during mini camps, he was kind of getting burned a lot. The reports were saying he didn't have the best of mini camps. I think Ethan Bonner is the guy who's going to step in. So what are you guys' thoughts on him? I'll go to you, Anthony.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add. He was only in the 1 preseason game, and I really started paying close attention to him after having the discussion with you guys about this first show, because truthfully hadn't even heard of him. I was like, who's Ethan Bonner? And it was interesting to watch him learn on the fly, because he did really well. He was targeted 4 straight times or something, or a lot in this first quarter, or first time he got out there. And the first 2 he defends really well. The third one he gets burnt down the sideline. So then what you're watching for at that point is okay, how does he respond? Because they're going to target him again, right? Anytime a corner gets burnt, they're coming right back to you. And the next time they target him, he breaks it up. So I love to see that. Nobody's going to be perfect, and this game is so mental. So if you can shake the play where you messed up and come back and make up for that later on, that's what I kind of want to see out of the young guys, because that's going to get you on the field, right? Being able to have a short memory, as well as your play. Play obviously is number 1, but that short memory thing is not to be, put aside, because you were talking about Tua, and Tua's mindset, right? Under Flores, mentally, if you're out of it, then you're out of it. It doesn't matter how physically gifted you are. So to see Bonner come back the very next play and make a breakup, I was very impressed by that. So I don't know if he'll be the cornerback 3, but it depends if you're counting the Kohu as the nickel corner. But
I look at I look at Kohu and Needham as guys who are going to play in the slot exclusively.
Sure.
And Needham's another guy who I was actually excited to see come back this season. Last year he was coming off the torn Achilles, and I think he's got some of that old explosiveness back. So I think as far as our slot cornerbacks go, we're set with Kohu and Needham.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as our outside guys go, there's a spot up in the back three.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a battle. I mean, I'm looking at it now. Bonner is definitely, like, if you're looking at the depth chart, he's the best of the rest, right? I mean, because you're looking at Cam Smith and Siren Neal, who came over from Buffalo, Storm Duck, who I'm sure somebody's going to talk about at some point, because he's been pretty impressive, and then just some other guys who are way down the depth chart and are probably already on the cut list. So yeah.
I also want to get into Chop, because you mentioned Chop, Josh. I actually have kind of a differing opinion on Chop.
Perfect.
No, he got that tackle for loss in the Commanders game, and that's great and everything. He didn't play in preseason week 1. I was surprised about that. I think he had a minor injury, and Mike McDaniel was just holding him out for precautionary reasons. But he had that big tackle in the Commanders game. But it was another one of those, tackles where the seas just kind of parted. The offensive line of the Commanders just kind of forgot that Chop Robinson existed for a few seconds, and Chop Robinson got into the line, got into the backfield, made the tackle. The guy who I was more impressed with, as far as rookie defensive ends go, was Mo Kamara. I love the way he held up against the run. I love the way he rushed the passer. It's been pointed out to me that he's 24 years old, so he should be more polished than Chop Robinson, but he looks more polished. Yeah. He looks like he's a pro already.
He's got that nasty power to speed switch. It's disgusting.
It's great. And I'm really looking to Mo Kamara. So, like, when I look at our edge rushers, our defensive ends right now, our stars are obviously going to be Jalen Phillips and Emmanuel Ogbah / Bradley Chubb when Bradley Chubb does come back. But after those two guys, I'm looking at Mo Kamara more so than I'm looking at Chop to be the next guy off the bench.
Do you think Ogbah makes the team? Sorry to cut in there, but
yeah,
I mean, this was a guy who was, like, last year was venting hard his frustrations with the coaching staff, then doesn't get signed until very recently. So, like,
I think he's more of a scheme fit for this.
Yeah, exactly, Josh. I agree. I think he makes the team. He was venting about the coaching staff, but that coaching staff is gone. They're in Philadelphia now. And honestly, good riddance. I was fine with Vic Fangio coming to Miami last year, but now that he's gone, and now that I see what Anthony Weaver brings to the table, and I see his scheme, which is a much more attacking scheme, much less of the Vic Fangio bend don't break. He wants to force you into making bad decisions. Anthony Weaver does, and I love it. I love what he's bringing to the table for the Dolphins this year, and I think Emmanuel Ogbah is a much better scheme fit for that, rather than what Vic Fangio was doing.
I think also Emmanuel Ogbah brings that veteran leadership that the Bradley Chubbs and the Jalen Phillips would, given how young that a lot of those defensive linemen are from the edge, with Mo and Chop and a few others. And I really do think he's shown out really well in the preseason as well in the limited snaps that he's gotten to. And in practices, all the reports are that he's making play after play.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years in a row with 9 sacks. I mean, fell completely off.
Well, what's the common denominator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I understood the Dolphins trading for Bradley Chubb when they did, drafting Jalen Phillips when they did. Jalen Phillips is a stud. The fact that he's come back as soon as he has, it's nothing short of remarkable.
He's a super soldier.
Yeah, absolutely. He's built like a Greek god. He's built like Captain America, man. But he's back, and I think I fully expect him to play week 1. I don't know that he's going to play his full snaps, the full, his full snap count. But that's where guys like Mo Kamara come in. That's where guys like Chop Robinson comes in. I don't think, but again, I don't think Chop's ready. I think Mo Kamara is much more ready to contribute to this team than Chop is right now.
I could honestly see Chop being on a relatively low snap count for the season, but still producing 5 sacks. I have him at 5 sacks.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
You know, there have been guys on Nick and Slinny Mafia. Shout out to Mike. But he wants to bet on Chop Robinson to be the defensive rookie of the year. And
Yikes.
I've been telling him all preseason, pump the brakes on that bet.
Yeah, do not do that.
No.
I mean, it would be wonderful.
I mean, yeah, let's be honest.
Don't get us wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah, that likely means Chubb doesn't come back if he ends up being rookie of the year, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that note, Anthony, I don't know if Chubb comes back regardless, because if you look at when Phillips needs to be re-upped. I think the same way that they did with the Waddle contract, Waddle's big money kicks in when Tyreek's contract is over and you have a 1-for-1 swap. I think they're going to take that same approach with Bradley and Jalen, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, like even this season, like if Chop is dominating, that means he's had more playing time than we thought he was going to get, and he's either earned it or he had to be put in that role because, because Chubb never came back. But.